Okay, let's run it again, baby. This time, can you say flipping instead of fucking? Because I have to let that out. Let's roll it. Second question. Ah, you fucking
Pete Doherty, musician, poet, lover, drug user, rock star, baby shamble and libertine, is one of this country's most observed contemporary musicians, familiar to millions but known to very few. Filmmaker Roger Pomfrey has spent much of the past year as an insider of the Doherty rolling circus. This film poses a simple question about arguably one of the most important, influential and much-loved figures in contemporary music.
He's a pariah, he's a hero, he's a leper, he's a god. He's all things to all people.
He's shy in many regards, but at the same time, he's a natural-born leader.
He's a good guy. He's one of the good guys.
This man is everything that Robbie wants to be, but isn't. It's, romantic, daring, yeah, he's got the debauchery, but it's not seedy debauchery.
I'm not right in the state to tell you exactly how it is, but I'll tell you the truth. Oh, a little speech. I love you. Feel so lonely. I could die. Well, if I ain't dead already. Oh, you know the reason. What? Everyone pays for everything.
Peter Doherty is the product of a comfortable middle-class couple, the son of an army major and a public school matron. From a very early age, he showed a talent for rhyme, verse and a love of literature, gaining 4 A-levels and a place at Oxford University to read English.
There's no really getting to know Peter. What you see is what you have. He's a humble, intelligent, I'd call him a poet. And, yeah, but Dickensian, I think.
The guy writes good songs and he's very much into his songwriting. He's focused most of the time.
Motivating my mind. My mind's inside's only seen by the physically blind. And for a few euro dollars more, I let you. What's the world? Tower blocks, headbutting the skyline. So stitch that slit in the sky like a knife gash in a full-length 60s leather coat. The tenements so unlovely. The people in them roll on in colours and classes and classes and colours. All the beats of New London, twisted and bitter with it by the wrong education and the big schools and the big grey gothic pink plastic flower estates. It's like no one's given up, but no one's on the offensive, more like on all fours in no man's land.
When I first met Pete, he was just about to release the first Libertines album, and he couldn't even listen to it, and I was totally amazed. And then as time progressed, he said to me, "I'll put my record on and that." And he went, "Oh, do you know, this is one of the first times I've really been able to listen to my own record."
Dropping out during his freshman year, he turned his gift to songwriting and first came to public attention when, with close friend Carl Barrett, he formed the critically acclaimed Libertines. But with the same talent for rebellion as for wordsmithery, trouble was brewing.
Honestly, I'm going to convey my feelings about what you're talking about, the Libertines. But I am a libertine. And I always was.
I couldn't understand it, do you know what I mean? That he couldn't be proud. He was scared to be proud of what he'd done.
Having developed a taste for hard drugs, and with the other Libertines on tour in Japan without him, Pete broke into Carl Barrett's flat and borrowed several personal items, redeeming them for their cash value. Barrett objecting, Doherty had his collar felt.
The fact he was kicked out of the band, it hurt him tremendously. I mean, that was his band, he started it, and he wrote most of the music and, It was totally hurt.
Yeah, I kicked my mate out of the band. So what? He's a junkie. But I'm not. You want to see me in playing? Beauty. Right. Well, for at least a year, I can't take heroin. And if Jerry Ball's got anything to do with it, I can't take crack. So...
Doherty's flat visiting escapades resulted in a 3-month stretch in prison.
I did love Carl, like a brother. And yes, it hurt, but only because... Oh, right, truthfully then.
Yeah.
Because no one told me to my face. I heard about it on the radio, I read about it in a newspaper, I'd been kicked out of the band. That was the only thing. No one could speak to me. It wasn't like anything approaching normality, humanity. It was more like depravity. So I ended up shaving my head and robbing phones in Kentish Town and living in crack houses.
He was devastated. I've never seen him in such a bad place. He was absolutely rocked to the core.
Years of building dreams with someone you love and trust, but really, a million more people have been hurt in a million more ways than that, you know. And we did sing about sadness and despair and loss. Although, no, we never sang about betrayal. But maybe he feels betrayed as well.
Oh, they betrayed you, though.
Uh-huh.
They did betray you. And that is hard to deal with. I've been betrayed.
But it's hard not to... If you bring something like that up, it's hard not for me to play up.
Well, you do what you got to do.
Well, no, it's how you do what you got to do, isn't it? Because I just get accused of being childish, or... I'm not sure whether I care more about how my hair's going to look during this interview, or how honestly I'm going to convey my feelings. What, are you recording?
Yeah.
Their own egos got in the way of helping the one person that needed the help.
And he could have died that time as well, quite easily. He was really on the edge.
Whoa, I get high. Rumor man walk down, you know it ain't right. Better watch out if I meet him tonight. When I get low, whoa, I get high.
I never underestimated them. I always knew that they were never really up for the job, but they fancied a better life, you know. I mean, Carl didn't have it easy as a kid. He wanted a bit of money, he wanted a bit of fame, he wanted a good life. Fair play to him. I just didn't realise what length he was prepared to go to achieve that. You know what I mean? I'd rather starve in the gutter than stab a friend in the back.
I just saw, just unbelievable, devastating turmoil and despair in his life when he was going through that, you know? But he's got a weird way of asking for help.
All the luck in this town has found me. Nobody knows the trouble's drowning around.
That's good, Clara.
How's that? Ah.
Sometimes the worst things that happen to you are the things that spark off, you know, some creativity. So some positive stuff came out of it, but it did reflect in his behaviour in a way. You know, he was not happy for a while.
It's not like all of a sudden the Libertines became famous and had a whole new set of friends. The Libertines became famous and I was still with people who still didn't think I could sing that well, but knew I could string a song together.
That old rocking chain gonna get me when I get low. I get high.
Yeah, why should I wait until tomorrow? I've already been seen all the sorrow that's in store. I will beg and steal and borrow, use each and all and any means to chaw back from sorrow all that choro source. Yes, and if I change my tune,
went down to nothing from the Libertines, and he started again. So he had it all over again. He had the really great time of putting a band together on the spot, making it work, writing an album, rehearsing the band, going through the trials and tribulations and the fun, which is making a rock and roll band, young rock and roll band with a spirit.
What I think makes Peter so special as a songwriter is how very British he is, you know, and he embraces all the good things about British culture, and obviously British kids are going to identify with that, you know. What Peter was doing, I think, with his music is making it okay to be proud of where you're from. He's one of the few people who walk it like they talk it. You can't fool people. You can't fool. Sounds like a cliche, but you can't fool the kids, you know.
Absolutely amazing.
He's had letters from kids that saying that you stopped me committing suicide. You saved my life. You know, if it wasn't for you, I'd be dead. And that is, I just like it really affected him at one point. You know, he felt really responsible.
What? How can such a lonely, or someone who spent many years as a lonely person claim to represent anyone else, unless it's just a group of freaks? But at the moment we seem to be freaking out the freaks. Do you know what I mean?
People love him because like he's a rock and roll animal, you know.
Sometimes you tend to play up to other people's ideas. Like, if you're told you're a gay icon, unless you're really fucked up, then there isn't a part of you that isn't going to be a little bit flattered. And how do you show 2,000 people you love them genuinely and truly? By bearing your soul to them, or it's not though, is it? It's putting yourself in complete agony, and that might sound strange, and especially to people who are in bands or on stages. But I don't really think, if we were to be true to the very essence of Baby Shambles and what it was when it started, that to get off that conveyor belt, it's quite right for all attention to be on me, because I genuinely believe that Pat, for example, is as good a guitarist as me. I genuinely believe that Drew is as good a lyricist, but it's very dangerous for that. Maybe it's just in my head, but it's very dangerous for that like thunderbolt attention to come upon you. And this might be it. This might be the one moment, and then this is a documentary that gets shown or doesn't get shown. Either way, it's going to come out looking like maybe a bit of a kiss ass of Peter Doherty, but he's had a few asses kicked in his time as well, like of his own, not like kicking other people. So, I mean, the odd kiss isn't so bad now and again, isn't it? And anyway, more to the point.
I just call it kind of more like, it's almost method acting, really. It's like, you read a story, you have a drink, you have a smoke, and you go and live life, you know. It's kind of like, you act out your own dreams.
I'm not 18 anymore, but I still have that rush. I still have that desire, and I still have that absolute fucking contamination of the soul with melody and with music. And yeah, I like to boogaloo.
I've been wandering east of Eden. Been lost, cold, lonesome as a sparrow in the rain. I found myself tumbling to a sinking feeling, where someone said I'd done gone wrong. Couldn't feel no shame. I'll be leaving town on the very next train. and wait for me, little girl, but I won't become this way again. And ain't nobody's business if I do. There's a slow train rumbling east of a place called Eden. It's not what people think, do you know what I mean? People don't understand, oh yeah, we think we're so great, we're a rock and roll band, da 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 da. People don't realise that really, just deep down, we're the greatest motherfucking band out there. And to make you talk because I'm so clever, but clever ain't wise.
He's been responsible for bringing a lot of soul back into music, I think. He's the most real person out there at the moment, in the public eye, I guess, musically. Everything musically is from the heart, and there's none of it is anything else but that.
Everyone's looking for is an identity, a sense of identity, if you will, you know. And when Oasis came out, bang, thousands of people totally identified with them straight away. You know, it's the same with Nirvana and the same with Stone Roses.
Nobody wanted it. That's the whole point of it. No one wanted the Sex Pistols. You know what I mean? It was the people that society didn't want that wanted the Sex Pistols. The difference is now we've learned from the mistakes of the past. Otherwise, we're all just a bunch of cunts, and we'll go the same way they did. Johnny's done all right, and yeah, Steve Jones is still getting his dick sucked probably, but...
With his dirty fingernails.
Yeah, he reckons all you need to be a good guitarist is have a big dick and have dirty fingernails. So, well, I'm halfway there, do you know what I mean?
You know, I think it's made a very big impression with the kids that buy the music, you know, all the fans. Just because of, it's not just musical, it's the lyric content as well. Just the lyrics generally have got strength enough to hold him in the high category of a lot of the greatest, you know, your Dylans, your Lennon McCartney, Joe Strummer, etc.
He is probably the nearest thing we've got to genius in the music industry at the moment. But I think a lot of the reason fans love him is because he's so accessible to them. He's real life. People can go around to Pete's house and watch him play guitar. He has no boundaries between him and the fans.
People who come and see us play know that, you know, we're not a bunch of saints and we're not the most clean living people in the world.
It depends who it is that I'm being. If I'm being Peter, someone who takes drugs, then yes, I need drugs. If I'm being Peter who doesn't take drugs, then no, I don't.
I don't think that that part of our lives is going to be something that they are influenced by. If anything, they're going to be influenced by the songs, you know.
You know, it's not like the only person with a drug problem in the world. Do you know what I mean? You know, demonise him because he has a drug problem.
I think that the derangement of the senses doesn't involve a bombardment or chemical bombardment of the self. And no matter how much you try and deny it, the soul, which it does do, if anything, it's only going to ever be detrimental because it's going to... Well, I've said it before, I'm sorry, Roger, this isn't an original thing to say in camera.
No, this is cool, cool.
But, you know what I mean, while you've got a pipe in your hand, you haven't got a guitar in your hand.
Yeah.
But you can dance with a pipe in your hand. But I'm not ever so bad.
He told you to go out there and carry on doing what you're doing. And you just see a video tomorrow of what you've done today. You won't be happy, man. You won't. You're standing there not singing the songs. Just promise you. I'm not bullshit. I wouldn't lie to you.
The drugs and his lifestyle. That's not what matters. It's what he's saying and the music.
He's not a drug addict. The drug is not bigger than him. If it really meant something that he had to stop, he'd stop.
one way ticket to Tickletown.
The overlying thing is it's got to be fairly sort of provocative, because that's what sells calendars to young lads.
In the autumn of 2004, Peter accepted this invitation to pose topless for a hospital charity calendar. A few months later, Pete opted for medical treatment himself, attempting to combat his heroin use by means of a naltrexone implant, which blocks the effect of opiates on the brain.
Oi, what'd you say, another junkie? Up your fucking arse. Oh, wasn't very gay, I didn't mind. I was a money man anyway, they killed a man for his gyro Have you got a lighter?
No, I don't stop.
No, Ronnie, I'm not. I wouldn't do that. I'm messing about. I'm messing about. I'm messing about. I'm not going to cut my...
You're fucking
I'm not. I'm messing... Good people watching the BBC in this beautiful country of ours, they know the score. You know what I mean? They might be a bit miffed or a bit concerned, or a bit, who does he think, the fuck does he think he is? Like, crack, crack, crack. They know what crack is. Fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? I know more racists, sexists, bullies, aggressors than I do crackheads, and I know who I'd rather hang out with any day of the week. Oh, give us a line, give us a home, and da-ba-da-da-da. Yeah. So you can probably, Wandsworth Prison Library Service. The falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, and near anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, whilst the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand.
The minute anybody has said to him, oh yeah, you do it, so I think I should do it, he's gone, you're a fool. Look at me. Everyone's, you can see what a place I'm in, do you know what I mean? I'm in absolute agony. Listen to his lyrics.
How you annoy me. Wolfie wrote that about me. How you annoy me, what a nice line. How you destroy me. I suppose I was quite a destitute figure and no one would touch me with a barge pole, and Jim showed a lot of faith in me, and it kind of helped me get back on my feet. I was getting the band together, but it was always the thing that drew me to him was his insistence that the whole conveyor belt would be avoided, like the plague. And then somehow we've gone from him like making like basically peace in the heart on a daily level priority to you've got to be massive, we've got to be big, we've got to be really ugly. So somewhere along the lines, was that somehow he used that word a lot, massive.
Yes.
Peter's getting a little bit agitated, so he started cutting himself a little bit.
What's the energy? What's wrong?
No, just like when he gets a bit down, he feels a release. It's not about anything else than that, because I've asked him about it. Right? And Jim's like, it freaked him out, so he thinks it's to do with drugs, so he's got 200 quid worth of drugs and just flung it on the floor.
Sit down, keep your brains warm. You joking me up here or what?
No, I try
I've
not
been
to
all
be
over the
Victorian
world
with you, but you know,
I've been all
you're
over.
pushing, man.
Smoke some scad, come on. Everybody's cooking, but I don't even know what's going on in the kitchen. I don't know
people that cash in your bank.
No one touches the crunchy nut cornflakes.
Yeah, I know. Same old story.
Now we know why.
I was quite happy selling Horse Chestnuts in Times Square. One day I'm whistling to myself. He says, hey kid, you can sing, I'm gonna make you big. Yeah, sure he makes me big. He has me on stilts advertising hot dogs. Next thing you know, CBS come along.
It must be hard for him sometimes to think like, on this tour, 3 days, no sleep, working with him. We worked for 3 days, and that's normal for him, non-stop, day and night. We did the gig, we worked all through the night, all the next day, did Soundcheck, did the gig, 3 days in a row. Now that's something like, where that energy comes from, you could say it's drug related, whatever, but if I can focus as well on the work, music, that's got to be quite scary, I guess, sometimes.
He needs to be doing a lot more than anybody else I've known. He's got a lot of energy, you know. Forget about the drugs. I remember before he took a lot of drugs that boy could stay up for 2 or 3 nights without any drugs, playing music, boundless energy, just natural adrenaline.
Devil's in control of your mind, and he's telling you all alone. Where your phone is now, where you live, tombstone nights and dying. Cry, you lead people on to war.
It goes,
Baby Shambles as a band is always going to struggle against against the media of what Peter has.
Pete knows, and we all know, that we are a band, do you know what I mean? We create the music together, I write the songs with Peter. I don't want to be like, it wouldn't happen anyway. It's very unique what's happened to Peter, and he's been elevated into this icon. I don't desire that at all. I just, you know, I want people to know that it is a band, and they're not just like Elvis's backing musicians, and you know.
1, 2, 3,
Tell him we're on our way, get the emergency doors open, and get them driving in on the scooter.
In October 2004, Baby Shambles performed 2 sell-out shows at the Scala King's Cross, one of London's premier rock venues. Incredibly, for a band still to produce their first album, there were as many people outside the venue refused admission as there were inside.
When the real fame started, the tabloid fame, not the music fame. And I said to him, you know, you're entering a different realm now. This is the fame game. You know, the art is real. The other stuff is a game. Yeah. And he was intrigued to find out what it was all about.
The problem with someone like Pete Doherty is that it happens too quickly now because we're all so self-conscious about it. So even before the Dohertys of the world have had a chance to really develop their art, if you want to call it that, their entertainment, their personality, their history, make a few albums, a few songs in the margins that create a kind of solid myth, they're plucked now too quick almost out of the enemy world, if you like, into the tabloid world, the glare of the news of the world. And the news of the world, you know, the news of the world has found its victim, it's found its target, and it starts to hound and persecute.
Tabloid, something to avoid. Otherwise you'll find another void right there, and you got something empty and meaningless and false, incidentally. Yeah? Untrue.
That's the worst thing, which is why I just fucking gave that Daily Mirror reporter a smack in the mush. And I'm not even a violent person.
I mean, do you like throwing a right hook though? I've seen you throw several. You threw one at me.
Yeah, I know, because if you throw enough right hooks, you start not feeling pain in your hand anymore when you hit people.
You know, we don't really know the truth. We don't really know what he's like. We're only told the moments when he's gone into a George Best moment or an Oliver Reed moment. We're not told anything else. You know, we're only told, you know, the sordid bits of the story. So we're losing our real sense of judgment on it, and therefore, you know, from an intelligent point of view, you're slightly mistrusting it.
Do you know when my granddad, right?
Yeah.
He was a Liverpoolian taxi driver, yeah? Youngest of 9. When the war started, he fancied himself as joining the RAF, but he had no qualifications. So he went to join the RAF, and he had this kind of intelligence test, and they said, "Listen, do you know algebra?" And he said, "I don't know about that. I know Al Capone. I know never heard of algebra." I'm not puffy, and I don't look like Sherry Blair, and that's all that matters, really.
As I say, in the last 6 months, where his fame's elevated, gone up to that other level. Most people read The Sun probably know Peter more for the antics and the music.
Yes, I have a certain taste for the out of control and something that does involve like wash up, but I'm not a cretin, right? And I might be a fool, but I'm not a fucker, and I'm not going to fuck anyone over, right? And I'm not going to be hardened by these people to these things. I'm not going to let them destroy my feelings or my emotions. I'm going to avoid them.
We stood around watching him, and we're commenting on it. You know, media people commenting on it, whether that's, you know, so-called intellectual media, so-called, you know, broadsheet media or the tabloid media. We're watching, you know, the broadsheet media is watching the tabloid media hound him, but picking up all the little scraps from the tabloid hounding to make their stories. So they're just as sort of culpable as anybody else.
Pete gets hounded by the press, and they would take anything to get a story.
How many articles have you ever read? In fact, how many reviews of my records have you ever read that ever you've mentioned in music? You know, let alone fucking articles about me. I'll talk all day long about crack, you know what I mean? Happily, but really, it's not my specialist subject.
They're focusing on the wrong things totally. They've been like really fucking rude.
It's usually sour grapes, jealousy, or ignorance.
It's kind of funny when you come home with the newspaper and it's got some Potty Pete and his band of troubled rockers headline, and we kind of look at it and laugh, and then you read it and you think, this is trash, man. This is the death of culture.
It shattered his faith in a certain way in people's honesty. He really didn't believe that people could be that dishonest.
You can just exist, and you can just keep sincerely producing what you produce, whether it's music or lyrics, without being knocked back by the media. I'm sure sometimes it gets to him, but generally I find him quite self-referential. He's got a good foundation, he knows what he wants to create, and he does it. And I think that harks back to the idea of being like a libertine, of being a non-conformist. You're not referenced by anyone else. You can create. I think any creative artist of any strength has been that way as well, not referenced by the outside. You know, they can be referenced by themselves, by their own output.
Some of the press, like the music magazines, have written, focused on the right things. You know, in that Q magazine, there was the 100 best songs of the year, and the top 3 were the songs he's been involved with.
In the real world, not the fan world, the blogging world, but in the real world, as a major artist. And so there's a real sense of tension as the fans and the blogging world and the NME world try desperately to point out what a great artist he is. But in the world that he's become, you know, where he's become a caricature, a cartoon figure, no one cares about that. You know, he's a caricature of a rock star. He's never really been that big a rock star in the true international sense of the word. But he's established as one in the news of the world shorthand, rock star.
Don't say what? Don't tell you how things are in my life. Don't tell you what I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. When I could be in the arms of someone I love, and not trying to prove myself and battle and pretend to be street. You know what I mean? And pretend that I'm going to survive, because I'm not. I'm going to get it very, very soon if things carry on like this.
In the drunken bed, I say I love you. Shake your head. Say no you don't. Oh, but I do. And I do, and I do, and I do, and I do.
someone like Brian Jones and now Pete Doherty, they kind of stand for a way of living and a way of thinking that is quite freeform, it's quite radical. And obviously, you know, the political stance of the News of the World is very anti that, and they immediately want to castrate and if you like, drive to death anybody that stands for something they don't agree with, that they think is, you know, the wrong way of being.
I think the tabloids got to make him a lot more wary of who he trusts. I mean, he just has to look at a number of people who've sold a story on him or whatever. I mean, he must now be very sceptical about who he can actually and can't trust in his life.
I suppose it's easier to know your mates aren't, isn't it?
Controversial rock star Pete Doherty, the boyfriend of supermodel Kate Moss, has been arrested on suspicion of assault and theft. A documentary maker claims Doherty, who now heads up the band Baby Shambles, attacked him in a room at the Rookery Hotel in Islington. It's reported the trouble flared over pictures of the former Libertine singer looking the worse for wear, which appeared in national newspapers.
The Carlish thing and the arrests and the fucking implants and jail and the works, you know, you can't help but it affects you, you know, because all of a sudden a singer wasn't there anymore, you know, and it's basically the tabloid attention that put him in jail, because Max wouldn't have done it if he wasn't gonna get given 30 grand or whatever.
30 bags of sand.
You're no friend of mine.
And the next thing I knew, he'd sold some pictures to the Daily Mirror of Peter smoking heroin, and that was like shocking. I couldn't believe it, really. I couldn't really believe why he'd done it.
I'm not a person who generally bears grudges. Like, my temper goes quite quickly. Unless I unleash it, then it's gone. I don't wait 6 months and stab someone. But the bloke was a cretin. The bloke had bad intentions. The bloke didn't want to make people feel comfortable, right?
Pete just came in one afternoon and said, "Oh, you know, let's go out. We're going out to a hotel." So.
And when he turned up at that hotel, it was the saddest thing I've ever seen.
Pete asked for Max. He'd asked us to go down. I subsequently found out, to give us some of the money. He was drunk, and he started throwing all his contents of the floor, of his pockets onto the floor, and saying, "You know, you junkies, here's your money for your junk." And it was like 70 quid on the floor, and his glasses and calculator. And Peter came to the door, and he was trying to get in, so Peter hit him, and you know, it was terrible. I pitied him, really.
But Max Carlish, the thing is, you say Max Carlish doesn't mean anything anymore now, because for every Max Carlish, there's another Max Carlish. Some prick.
He left with his friend, saying, "Don't kill me, don't kill me." So it was all just a setup, another setup, just, you know, for part of Max's sad dream, and he got it. And that's what happened. We went through an hard time, really. But I always knew that I always knew from the start that we'd be acquitted, because it was the truth.
Walking like a cyclone, but don't mind me. I'm a magnet for psychos, and pretty riddles keen on me.
The Max Carlish documentary, and it's not very imaginative of me to say this, but it's true, it was a complete fucking joke. A complete joke.
The whole thing, drugs, trouble with police, you know, fighting, there's all that. That happens in everyday life anyway. Do you know what I mean? And you know, he's not set out to do any of that. The thing he's set out to do is do his music, and he happens to have, you know, he's had a few problems and a few things to deal with, like a lot of people do, you know.
While still on bail for assault and blackmail charges relating to the Max Carlish incident, a High Court judge granted Pete a 5-hour extension to his 7 o'clock curfew so that he could join Baby Shambles for a sellout performance at London's Brixton Academy.
a strange time for us. It was like we were burning up on re-entry. It was 2 or 3 days after Pete had cut out, and we were very keen to come back. And we came back really fast because we were so keen to come back, and yeah.
He punched me first. Or with Peter?
Yeah. After the Brixton thing, it kind of turned into a bit of a free-for-all brawl. I think it's a good thing in some ways. I think it's kind of a brotherly thing with us. You know, it's that kind of level where you can argue to an extent, and sometimes it will just overboil and it will turn into, you know, a few fisticuffs here and there. You know, it's all in good fun.
Was it trouble to eat? We put an advert in a magazine to the annoyance of my imaginary lover. Well, she questioned my integrity, and this is what she said to me. She said, "Oh, you're green. You don't."
A man stand up for right against wrong. The only thing I object to is him thumping people when they get it wrong.
As Steele, Pete's 2-year-old son, makes a rare outing with mother Lisa Moorish to see his father perform at University of London Union.
You know, our critic has not had his chance really to make their minds up yet completely, because there's so many distractions. And in a way, there's a strange illusion that must be created, a strange kind of hypnosis for an artist to become truly great, that often isn't necessarily based around whether they really are as great as your Dylans or your Hendrixes. It's another thing that goes on, as happened with the Gallaghers, if you like. There's a kind of effort of will to create rock stars. And I got the feeling with Doherty, it was worth it. It was worth the effort of will to give it a go, because he was a unique character, he had a unique vision.
It's a powerful thing, a melody married with the power of words. If it's done well, it's you know, one of the strongest things in the world. And if that person's singing about something, when you listen to it, you're like, yeah, man, that's me, that's my situation.
A lot of rock bands now, all they do is borrow from within rock music. They don't go outside to literature or cinema or poetry. Very few of them do. He was a character that actually did. He seemed to look outside. He went beyond, and it's pretentious and it's ambitious, but it's always going to lead to a great volatile mix that makes the music better than just being something that's nicked from the Kinks or the Clash or the Pistols. You know, it just dilutes and dilutes and dilutes and becomes less interesting.
I've been wondering, east of Eden, we've been lost, cold, lonesome as a sparrow in the rain. I found myself tumbling to a sinking feeling. Well, someone said I'd done wrong, couldn't feel no shame. I'll be leaving town on the very next train. But wait for me, little girl, that I won't be coming this way again. Ain't nobody.
Thanks so much, boss. We've got to move. You're such a quality man.
East of a place called Eden.
And it is very difficult now for a genuinely radical, rebellious alternative to actually have a chance to breathe and live and reach that stage that the alternative world did in the 60s, because the capitalist commercial world doesn't want it to happen. So in that sense, we're seeing, we're seeing Pete as the kind of, he's on the front line and he's being battered mercilessly, because he did have a romantic vision.
To the annoyance of somebody or other.
Anytime, man.
They doubted my philosophy, and this is what they said.
Pete just writes what's real. He writes real, real events, real lyrics, real places, and I think that makes a big difference. I mean, anyone else really does that.
Pete Doherty is by far the most important man of our generation, the most talented writer and poet, because he can teach us that life can be a shitty mess, but you have to really appreciate those times, because if you don't appreciate those times, how are you going to appreciate it when it's something's glorious, something magical happening?
I sat for a while at the cross at Ferney, where the young lovers would meet, and the flowers were in bloom, and I heard the men were coming home from the fair at Chiron, with their hearts in Tipperary wherever they go. But for me, I just transcribed that to Arcadia, and I know I'll return there.
Peter's literary prowess is recognised by the Burns Society in Scotland, and in May 2005 he was invited to perform at Burns and All That, the annual Burns Festival in Glasgow.
I don't think there's anyone of this generation that comes close to Peter lyrically.
There's an element that's still keeping on to the idea that he's a poet, because that makes the story still have a kind of resonance. The wonderful poet with an incredible insight into existence is being hounded to an early death by a cruel, unforgiving, crap tabloid media that just doesn't understand his sensitivity. There's all that going on as well. But we never really get a chance to see if he's that sensitive, if he is actually a Nick Drake, or is he just another kind of kid that had a chance and fucked it up.
His gaze blank and pitiless as the sun is moving its slow thighs. What the fuck? Whilst all about it, real shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast is this? Its hour come round at last. Slouching towards Bethlehem to be born. Let's find out.
Everyone wants to get a little bit of it. Publishers are racing around wanting to publish his poetry books. Radio 4 wants to put him on reading poetry. The Burns Society in Scotland or whatever want him to come up and read a bit of Burns. Everybody wants a bit of him. They're all pecking at him. You kind of feel that they're telling you about your lives in a way that is unexpected and original and beautiful and actually makes sense.
Working with Peter for the first time, it's opened up the idea of lyrics and how that can enhance a piece of music, more so than anything I've ever done. I think, he can stand alone as a poet. It just emphasises the fact to a greater extent when he uses music with it.
I think he's a fantastic prose writer. He tends to write more prose. I think he gets frustrated with poetry, with the actual bullseye of beauty.
Because I'd always thought I had the same name as my dad, Thomas Dean Burns. My name. I thought I was named after my dad. And then discovered not only is the S dropped off the Burns, my dad's name is Thomas Dean's Burns. But they dropped the S. So each time, really when Sky was born, I should have called him Thomas Dean Burns.
I don't find it irritating. You always play to win, but I won't need real
fantastic. He's a hero to me. Just because he's owned up to a lot of things. The papers have ridiculed him, and he's right. He's risen above it all.
But in the middle of it, there's a kind of silence. There's a kind of peace that I guess is ultimately, the drama of his life has become the inability for him to find those moments of peace, and he tries to find that peace through all sorts of substance abuse, through all sorts of weird collaboration, through, who knows what. He's trying to find that peace, that moment of privacy, and it's becoming more and more elusive to him. And part of the story, I guess, is the difficulty for him to find that peace, that obscurity, if you like, that will enable him to grow as a writer.
Slash batteries a day, the boys learn to behave. Only like hoodlums, sick of themselves, sick of their slums. They should give everybody a gun and put it on the television. That's reality TV that I would pay to see. Not lobotomize celebrities and queues of wannabes. Line up, famous the church, money's the steeple. They doctor the verse, indoctrinate the people. What they trying to do?
Yeah, she's a diamond. I've drove her.
Oh, did you get the stereo with it?
Yeah, everything with it. She purrs like a baby.
Standing in a garden patch with bubbles coming out of his head. When you plant in your potatoes, make sure there ain't no wildworm about. He's dead right, Last year we had 26 pounds of spuds and we only got 3 chips out of them. Huh? It's a lot of peeling. And then I'm screaming with me.
As well as coming to the attention of the literary and rock establishment, Pete's influence has extended to the world of fashion, with Christian Dior's chief menswear designer Eddie Slimane basing his autumn 2004 collection on the Doherty look.
This is what they said to me.
Whole energy of him on stage, or Baby Shambles, and then when I started the project with him, that can come through my work when I design for Dior. I never saw a discrepancy between his private life, his life, like everyday life, and stage. It's like he was born to be on stage, really, and something, a quality that's very particular, I think. It's never really stopping. It's the same character that's evolving, I think, and that is for me really interesting. It has a certain romanticism to it.
There's a massive queue outside.
No photographs, please.
And any generation that finds someone that tells them something about the strangeness of how they feel growing up, the strangeness of the world they live in, you're going to leap on them with absolute love and adoration. Whether it's I mean, in a way, funnily enough, he reminds me of the strange mix I found with someone like Mark Bolan, where Mark Bolan was this great, lovely, unusual-looking boy that, as a boy you could fall in love with just for his appearance, but also in his words. He was a poet, and he said he was a poet, and you kind of love that.
Yeah, his lyrics and his poetry, how he releases music on the internet, no one else does that. I mean, that's a direct link between me and him. He's releasing his music on the internet, because that means so much to me and all the fans, because it's just if he's talking to you, that's straight to you. No one else has got that.
The network of fans are that loyal and that devoted to this band, they don't miss a trick, and I swear there must be thousands of them on the web pages every night, just in case a gig happens, and they know something will always happen. And once it does, the way it can spread through the internet and through the little groups they've got is phenomenal.
These days, technology is so fast now. You can really advertise a gig within 3 hours. We can sell a gig out almost. So because of that fact, it means that you can fancy playing some new tunes that we've just written, post a gig, 2 hours time, come to here in Islington, etc., and people will turn up. And the whole idea of that is, I think, maybe just to connect with the community of fans we've got out there. It's not some preconceived notion. We don't think about, let's do this as some marketing ploy. It's more about, let's do a show so we can hear people what new art we've created. There's such a strong sense of community which is reflected back into the band and to the fans.
I don't know, they just seem to like live for every word that comes out of his mouth. He seems to express what they feel and stuff. And
Everybody go lily lie, lily lie, lily lie, lily lie, lily lie.
at first I was really, I hadn't seen nothing like it, the devotion.
They found their man that seems to be articulating how they feel and is suffering for it. You know, he's actually being nailed to the cross for it, you know, in a dramatic way. You know, the nails are going in as he's trying to tell them that he understands them. So it is reaching in a strange way a kind of Christ-like proportion, as well as it reaching, you know, really pathetic Burton and Taylor proportions. It's a strange mix, but in the middle of it, there's definitely this community of people that have found their Bob Dylan.
And it's harder for me to say I'm going down by myself. I'm going down for the good of my health. 'Cause there's one thing that I won't do. I won't sacrifice myself for you. Sacrifice. That's the way that you are. And that's the things that you say. It's the way that you are. Under April sky.
I think he really respects the fans for who they are, rather than just kind of record buying product consumers. He respects them for their individuality and the fact that they really listen to his words and they really get an insight into his being, really.
Tonight I'll be chasing you.
people see a very creative and fragile person there as well. They care for him a lot.
What you see with Peter and with Babyshambles is what you get.
There's like a vibe, for want of a better word, that every night has that makes every gig completely different.
I think we're always going to find ways of keeping it small. It's like, one week we'll play Brixton Academy, the next week we'll go and play to 20, 25 people in some back-end East London pub. And I think it really keeps it real and keeps you a sense of sincerity with your fans that way.
Peter's a hard cunt. He's made of tough stuff, but he's sensitive as well, you know. So it's gonna take its toll somehow. But recently I've seen a really positive change in him, you know.
Pete's public profile was raised in January of this year after meeting Kate Moss at her 31st birthday party. And their relationship has been a source of constant fascination for the press ever since.
I thought they were great. Excellent. Well worth it. My name's John Giddings and I'm the promoter. I was here in 1970. I saw Jimi Hendrix play.
We're grouping.
Everyone's an interview. Stop rumbling. So today, I saw her face. It was a face I loved, and I knew I had to run away. Get down on my knees and pray that they'd go away, but still it begins. The needles and pins are because I'm on fire. Since I tried to hide, I thought I was sad. I thought I was. How could I forget you? There is always something there to remind me. Always something there to remind me. Yeah, born to love you. And I'll always be true. You'll always be a part of me. Oh, whoa, whoa. Johnny! Johnny, where you been, man? You didn't even send me a postcard. What are you talking about? You can't read. You could have thrown me a picture or something. Ah, shut up.
Man with the golden arm.
Yeah.
Got a monkey on his back.
I lost a monkey, man. I lost a monkey.
Yeah, upset because he didn't win the Academy Award.
Was he? Well, I was a bit pissed off I didn't get the Ivor Novello, but... Then again, it would have meant going up trying to get on the podium with the Wolfman, and he's got big elbows and...
That's ever nerve-wracking.
Why?
Like James Bond, isn't it? Waiting like the last minute for the countdown clock.
When was he due here?
This morning, like 5-6 hours ago.
Pete's stuck in his car with his girlfriend somewhere, hopefully near the Pyramid Stage. Last year when the Libertines played, he didn't actually get here at all, so he's never played here before, although he's been on the bill twice. So hopefully this time he will get here.
Peter's on his way. He's en route. So what can you say?
We've got to drive through the whole of fucking Glastonbury. All right, darling, how are you?
Yes, Pete. Yes, Pete.
It's a very great prize that we have in our hands, and it's right there, it's in our hands. As long as we don't let it slip through our fingers.
How did you hold it together and still, whether it's true or not, appear to have peace in your heart and tolerate the kind of shit that, you know, that lands on your doorstep from day to day?
Me?
Yeah. Because I'm not a bad person, but
No.
I do feel sometimes that...
I'm not judgmental.
No, but there's this performance aspect to some of the scenes you witness, because it's a world of.
No, that's the rich tapestry.
You know, that's the rich tapestry of life, but it's a certain way of life, isn't it?
No,
and it's relying on dreams. It's relying on dreams, and dreams are fucked up things. You never know what's going to happen next. Chad's going to be in a couple of minutes, things will be fine. You mentioned stuff about like, cutting yourself before. Never cut yourself.
It's one and the same. It's one and the same. Oh.
It's a racket. It's a fucking racket. And I'm not cut out for it. It just so happens I know people who are. That's the thing. So I can play along with it and I can play the role. But really, all I'm good at is singing songs. I don't want. What the fuck? I wanted to support Oasis. Yeah, I wanted to not Liam Gallagher out. You know what I mean? For cutting me off. But I wanted to support Oasis. You know, that's dream stuff. That's fucking schoolboy stuff. Pete knows that. We used to rehearse in his loft, man. Here, Pete, come here. Look, you don't even know about this. Everyone thinks they do, though, don't they?
What's been going on?
I don't know. But I'm a very paranoid man. And I'm even more a paranoid boy, which is worse. Because they're more reckless.
You must think you can sing. I mean, I think you're very sweet.
But if the nightingale can sing like you, sing much sweeter than they do, 'cause you brought a new kind of love to my heart.
It's that figure 27 that I get very anxious about. Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain, that number that the rock stars tend to die at. And he's pretty close to it now, I think. I think next year, 2006, I think is it 2006? I think it's 27, 2006. So I get very anxious that we're all, this time round, we've all got our fingerprints on whatever the weapon or the thing that's used.
Look, we didn't get on at first, right?
Say again?
We didn't get on at first.
Yeah.
We got to know each other, and you've seen my world, I've seen yours.
Yeah.
You know, you've never asked me that.
No, but
so why are you waiting for the only time you record me?
Because these questions
What,
aren't
because
for
I'm showing
me.
off it's pretend?
They're not
What?
for me, these
I
questions.
should never watch Big Brother, man.
I know the answers to these questions, but they're not for me.
Never watched it. Ever. Ever. Don't watch it. Get on with your lives. Get on with your lives.
We need figures like Doherty to come along, and this time what we've done is we've jumped on it too quick as a society, as a bunch of voyeurs. You know, we've gone in too quick before he's really steady.
I think Pete's a hero. There's a little bit of villain in him.
Yeah, but it's true. Yeah, I'm paranoid, which is why I'll do something very silly. Yeah, no, I will. And I will. And I will. I'm not conniving, right? I'm not manipulative. I'm not competitive even. Although, like, Jim thinks I am, doesn't he? You know what I mean? I like Tony Hancock and Queen's Park Rangers and making love. All right. So some children or adolescents or people influenced by anything I do might think that, well, smoking crack can't be that bad. It is if you're gonna do it all the time and you're skint. But the thing was, I always got by because I always had a fiddle on. I was never the best guitarist early on, but I could play the fiddle. It's my film. Yeah, like you had to do an interview. What a cunt, what a prick. About time someone said it, wasn't it? Oh, such a drama queen too, but I love you as well, you. It's the nearest drink at hand. Roger's probably not recording it, his t-shirt's half ripped. Aki and Ali on curfew. Okay, I love you.
But yeah, he's becoming very successful. But, I think that's maybe to do with his courage. You know, you reap what you sow. That is just so. That's the only truth we know in this life. You experiment every time you reap what you sow, and so no one can deny him his success or his anguish.
Genius is the price you pay. You know, the torment, the self-doubt, the turmoil.
They do. And I did try. I really tried, like everyone says. And it's been well documented, like what I've put in my blood, what I've done to try to do for my brain and my body, but they still won't stop waterfalling. Ever on that score. How you annoy me. Wolfie wrote that about me. How you annoy me, what a nice line. How you destroy me. But everywhere I'm walking like a cyclone. But don't mind me, it's just not fair. I'm a magnet for psychos and pretty riddles hard and keen on me. Pure cat like they sink into the open. Heavy loving heart, first touch and I'll kiss. But slashed by rays of day. The boys learn to behave. Only like hoodlums. Sick of themselves, sick of their slums. They should give everybody a gun and put it on the television. That's reality TV that I would pay to see. Not lobotomize celebrities and queues of wannabes. Line up, fame is the church, money's the steeple. They doctor the verse, indoctrinate the people. What they trying to do to me seems to come so naturally. Sick of themselves, sick of their slums. They should give everybody a gun and put it on the television. That's reality TV that I would pay to see. Not lobotomize celebrities and queues of wannabes. Line up, fame is the church, money's the steeple. They doctor the verse, indoctrinate the people. What they trying to do to me seems to come so naturally.